Cutting your nose off, spite your face, trigger happy strata managers, suing builders. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it right now.
Good morning, everybody. Hit the mic. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes, episode 458. Suing your builder. Be careful. In light, basically, well, it's probably come to light a lot more since Opal Towers. We're hearing a lot of sort of horror stories when it comes to build unit blocks, even new builds, but not necessarily in the way you're probably thinking, as in dodgy building falling apart. Where I sort of are hearing the horror stories is strata, like the strata manager has spent $1 million in getting reports on a building that's just been ticked off, special levies coming out, $500,000 on legal fees, on a block of like 70, or even on a smaller case, a block of 12, $500,000 being spent with no outcome. And you're thinking to yourself, who does that benefit? Like like $500,000 special levies. It's pretty insane.
It's out of control.
Tell us sort of where this started, or what's going on here. Is it legit? If it is legit, what to look out for? Because sometimes it feels like it's the person writing the checks is literally just writing the checks. They got no care on that money. It's not their money. They didn't earn it. They didn't pay for it. It's free money.
It's almost like who you're getting screwed harder from, the builder or the lawyers and the strata manager. It's like you'd think that if you turn to a lawyer and you turn to a strata manager, that could be your course of least resistance, saving money, protecting you. But you know what? I guess it's a bit like divorce. Like sometimes if you may find you get an opportunistic lawyer that wants to drag out a divorce case to make a little bit more money. It just happens in life. And I think, it's not saying strata managers are bad, but, I think like in any profession, there's bad real estate agents, there's bad strata managers, there's bad lawyers. That just milk it. The particular one that brought us to this story today was we're very close to certain developers in the Northern Beaches, and one particular one is these guys were going back to do a repair on a building, and the strata manager said no. So these guys were prepared to do about 90% of what the claim was from the people in the building. And the people of the building and the strata manager said, don't touch the building. And they went, we'll fix what's got to be fixed. And they said, don't touch the building. We're going to go to court. Anyway, they went into the tribunal. They came out of the tribunal settings. And guess what happened?
What?
The builder that was intending to do 90% of the claimed work now only has to do 10% of the claimed work.
Yeah, and you spend, like, well, I've heard stories where the strata the owners, generally on the advice of the strata manager, they've spent more in legal battles than sometimes what the repair would have happened. And I think people need to realize there are no perfect buildings. Every building has a defect. So face that fact. But the thing is, like, I think some strata managers like, well, you built the building with the defect. We're not going to get you to fix it. It's like, well, no, some things happen. It's human built. You would rather the person who built the building most of the time, especially if it's not malicious, like yes, there's circumstances you don't want the person back. But if you know they've built a lot of buildings and it's just something that's happened, and they're happy to they know the building the best, come back and fix it, and then you can get it checked off after. But I think far too often I'm hearing sort of strata managers sort of get on their high horse and they're like, no, not dealing with you. We're not even going to have a conversation with you. We'll go to court. And the winners are not even the strata managers because they get paid on the percentage. It's the lawyers because they're charging regardless of the result, and all these people getting the reports done. Like there's a new building, a new building I'm aware of, and they're already, because a little bit off topic, but same sort of thing. There's now a bond that a developer has to put down for a building.
That's big news for everyone.
Yeah, so the developer's got to put a bond down for defects. But what we're seeing are some lawyers sort of going to strata managers and people who do reports saying, well, we've basically got to find something wrong so we can claim that bond. Just like when you're renting a property or an owner, you can't claim the bond if there's nothing wrong. But they're going out there going, let's find something. Let's get all these building reports. And they're spending a couple $100,000 in reports hoping to find something wrong so then they can take it from the bond that way. But it's just, I don't know, it's sort of, when I look at it, there's just some big risk to owners. Like you buy in a building, you may only have 100. Like when you see, if you have 100,000 in your sinking fund, if on a 10 to 30 unit complex, it's not too bad. But that can get eaten up. I don't think people understand that. Like 100,000 sounds like a lot, but when people go through this, they're spending $500,000 to $1 million, which means an owner could be paying a 50,000 special levy. I just think the risk isn't worth the reward, or it's going in with bad intent, and owners don't know about it because a lot of the time, think about yourselves. How often do you go to a meeting?
Just control your freaking bulldog. You know, like don't let your dog loose and let it maul everyone around you. Like you're gonna cop it in the end. Your dog is going to be shot, or it's going to be a claim against you. So I think that some people that are in strata buildings don't control the suing in their building, and it just goes out of control. So the lawyers go out of control. The strata manager just says, "Well, as a strata manager, I can understand their position because the people in the building feel like they're doing the right thing." Because they're suing someone to get something fixed. And it's like, hang on a sec. Just be really, really careful because you could do more damage than good, because your consultant costs can run, your legal costs can run, your strata manager cannot pull it in. You guys don't pull it in, and it's going to cost you $5 or $15 or $55 or $155,000, where you're going to get nothing back from it as a unit lot owner. So you've just got to be really, really careful. And now we've seen it swing the other way, where there's so many rights for people that are in buildings. And I'd love to know people's feedback, if you've got any for me, if you've experienced it. Consumers have so many rights that to push all of those buttons is going to cost you a fortune to activate those rights.
And I worry that there's no one there to tell people, basically, hold back. You shouldn't do this, like, because the lawyer's getting paid.
Yeah, good point.
There's no one to really say, think twice about that. Is it really worth it? Like, let's take a breath, because the lawyer keeps charging hours. The strata manager convinces themselves that they have to do it because what happens if something does happen? And I've recommended against spending $10 million on reports. Then they're going to look bad. So they're scared shitless because they don't want to. Imagine if they've said no to let's say it was it was stupid. The owners or whatever, the lawyer told the owners, either way, they wanted to get a lot of reports which were unnecessary, but they'll just trigger happy. And the strata manager was like, I don't recommend this. And then something does happen to the apartment. And then they're like, you told us not to get those reports. We may have been able to pick it up then. But it's almost like you don't go to a doctor and have full open body surgery to find an issue. It's like you find the issue comes up and then you select it. But I find a lot of people going in with their eyes closed going, let's get reports on everything, find out, and then we'll see what's wrong.
Yeah.
it's costing you a
That's
lot.
exactly what it is.
You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly what it is. You go into a doctor with a sore head and they say, don't be silly, you're overreacting. They're opening themselves into a big lawsuit. So you're right, Birch. In terms of a strata manager, when people are going in saying, we've got this problem with our building, the strata manager's not going to turn around and say, oh, don't be silly, it'll be fine. The strata manager's going to go, yes, we've got to do this report, that report, we should talk to this lawyer, that lawyer. And next thing you know, it costs you personally a fortune. A fortune.
Yeah. Like, it's great they've brought in all these rights for consumers, and that's great. But they also, I don't think they've really brought anything in to help say no and protect yourself, because spending the whole sinking fund and getting a special levy to check a building that technically is already just been checked, especially on new builds, like, that's where there's something doesn't sound right. Like, there was a building completed, and within 6 months they spent a couple $100,000 on reports, and it's like, it was just ticked off. What's gone wrong? What could go wrong in 4 months from a new build? Something's here. So that it's either two things: it was ticked off when it shouldn't have been, or they're sort of wasting money. And where's the check to wasting money? Because if you're an owner in there and you're trying to sell it with no sinking fund, or you like, it's very easy. We've just seen the bills go so high. That's where we're conscious of it. Even on small blocks, 12 units, 20 units, and yeah, you buy into a building with 300K sinking fund and it's gone, and then they're asking you for another 30 grand out of nowhere. It's like, whoa, I don't know. I just think people, you need to be active, because you always get the hero strata manager in a bad way and the hero in your body corporate who's like, let's sue for this. This ain't right. My friend said they couldn't have built this here. My friend said this. My friend this. Let's investigate. It's like, why? No one cares. If it's right, it's wrong, but it's not hurting anyone. It's got no risk. Like, there's a lot of shit that people investigate which really doesn't affect them, but they're just spending money. It's almost like free money.
And it's a little bit more dangerous these days, guys. If you just tuned in, we're talking about suing your builder in a strata scheme when you're living in a unit block. It may be a new building, it may be an old building offered a new building. But there's now banking facilities where you can borrow money under your strata scheme.
Dangerous.
So we had one where it was a fairly new building. They decided that they were going to intimidate the builder and get a loan of $500,000 in their strata scheme. So can you imagine your strata scheme has a loan to pay back of $500,000?
Disgusting.
I've got to tell you, you may look pretty good because you look like you're ready to go to war. But when you go to sell your property, when you've got a $500,000 loan on your strata scheme, you're gonna erode a lot more in value in your property, proportionately. Because when someone does a strata search on your building, they see you've got a huge loan and you're suing your builder. It's a bottomless pit. They're going to want to reduce your purchase price by $10 or $50 or $100,000. So be very, very careful. Another thing, guys, to watch is what's being documented and what's being not documented. Because when you go to sell your property, you want to make sure that the documentation is clear, concise, not there or there, because your dirty washing is going to be strung out in your minutes of your meetings, and when you go to sell your property, it is going to appear there. So you do have to be a little bit of an artist, a bit of a critic, and a bit clever on the way you guys approach when suing a builder. Now, I'm not saying don't sue the builder, but I'm just saying, guys, like, it's okay to have your attack dog, but don't let it maul people. or at every time and any time, there's a right time and place for everything.
But I almost think a unit block against a builder is David versus Goliath in the builder's favor. They do this for a living, and in a couple of ways. So, yeah, especially if they don't have that bad intent. you've got 12 owners, they get a loan for $500,000, they think they're the greatest, they're going to intimidate the builder. The money probably won't intimidate the builder because he's probably got more money or access. He's liquid, like he's just doing it. And two, he's probably gone. Well, you think of the first law case, the first case you ever do, or the first you ever do. Think how many times you screw up and make mistakes, and you don't know who to go to get the right reports. And think how much money's wasted there. Where he's probably built 10 buildings. And if 80% of the claims are just for the sake of it, he's got his army of lawyers, army of reports. Keep in mind the building's already just been ticked off, so he's on a pretty high footing. So I think sometimes it's a losing battle, and a lot of the time, Mark, a conversation bringing in the builder in is a lot better. Instead of getting $500,000 to intimidate him, a lot of the time, the builder is building other projects. They don't want this lingering over their head. They want it resolved. And as I said at the beginning, if you have the meeting and you say, guys, this is what's wrong. I don't think any of us want lawyers involved. It's $100,000 fix. Are you going to do it or not? Or let's do a deal, and do a deal. Get all the owners in there. I think that would work so much better. But people are like, no, we have to hide behind our lawyers, hide behind the strata manager. They take the people out of it and just let the lawyers fight, and then each party get a huge bill. Nothing gets resolved. That's when you told me about that example just before, how the builder said they'll come back and do 90% of the work. That's like a pure example of letting basically the paper pushers screw up a deal. Like, no, we're going to do it this way. This is how we do it, or this. But what if you look at what's best?
Themselves. They got more without going to court than going to court.
Correct.
Who would have thought?
And you got to look at who is everyone working for? The homeowner. Are they still able to live in the property?
Who won? The lawyers won.
The lawyers won. And the cost, like, it's not even just using the sinking fund, special levies. It's very hard to sell that asset. So you may lose $50,000 that you've put in the sinking fund. You may need to do a special levy of $20,000, and then you sell your property for 10% less because the strata report comes up like shit and people don't want a headache. And then people go, oh, what was wrong with them? Like, oh, just they didn't waterproof those 4 balconies. It's like, you've been fighting for 2 years. It's not good for homeowners, and it's not good for the developer. So that's, Mark, this is why when you buy off the plan, it's very important, where I like it when the builder is the developer and they do multiple projects. Because if they've screwed up, reputation is key. So just like the homeowner wants a safe unit block to live in, the builder, developer wants the reputation intact. So get them in the room, get it resolved, and $500,000 is not I don't feel is much leverage to a developer. But 50 owners who are going to say they're unhappy with his build when he's trying to sell another building in the area, that's more leverage. So everyone wants the same goal. But you know who loses if it gets resolved quickly? Lawyers, consultants. And they're generally the ones that homeowners turn to for advice. So it's sort of like a lawyer goes, yeah, let's do this year-long battle. We'll try and get as much as we can, but they're getting paid each week. We've seen those cases a year down the path, 2 years, nothing's been done, all money's been spent. So I just think, yeah, moral, just the point is try and resolve it quickly, quietly, look at the bigger picture, and
use your bloody common sense.
Common sense. Don't just sit back and write.
Bloody common sense. Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, that's a wrap. Cheers, everyone.
Have a great day.